So today we are going to be using the log rules to actually approximate a number. And so we are going to be given a few of the logs where we know what the numbers that they represent are, and we have to figure out how to approximate using those logs to go further. So we have log base 4 of 6 is approximately 1.3, and I'm going to use the same 3 options for each page, so you only have to write these down once. Log base 4 of 9 is approximately 1.6, and log base 4 of 11 is approximately 1.7. So we are going to use these to help us solve problems. They could be as simple as log base 4 of 1 over 11. So we have to figure out, okay, how do we use this? How can I figure out what's going on here? Well, I know 11 is one of my options. So if I was to write 11 in exponential form, turn it into where it has an exponent, what exponent would it have?
1.
A negative 1 because it's in the denominator. So that's the same thing as log base 4 of 11 to the negative first. So you're using the exponent rules that we learned last chapter to help us with these. That negative 1 can come to the front. And so negative 1 times what is, all right, so let me go ahead and write this first. Log base 4 of 11. And that is approximately negative 1 times this information here. So what number is that approximately equal to? Log base 4 of 11 is 1.7. So I can use that to help me evaluate. And so that means that answer is negative 1.7. And that's it. The hard part is trying to figure out how did they use that number to help create it. Okay, so if I have log base 4 of 66, how can I use 6, 9, 11 to help create that? How can I use 6, 9, and 11 to create 66 using multiplication or division or powers? Multiply 6 and 11. So log base 4 of 6 times 11. What did we say would happen if we had multiplication? So log base 4 of 6 plus log base 4 of 11. And that is approximately 1.3 plus 1.7. So approximately 3. Log base 4 of 11 over 36. And so, well, 11 is obvious to be just this. But 36, how can I get 36 created?
6 times 6.
6 times 6. So 6 squared.
Well, 4 times 9.
Well, out of our choices. And so 6 times 6 is our choice.
Why is 9 not a choice?
Well, if we had 9 times something would work, what could we multiply 9 times?
4.
But that 4 is not up there. We don't have log base 4 of 4. Actually, do we know what that is? It's 1. We'll work it both ways. I didn't think about your way. Your way will work. Let's do it both ways, and so y'all can see it comes up the same way. Okay.
I'm sorry, class.
Sorry, you went a different way than I did, so let's work it the way I was thinking, and then we'll come back to your way. So, log base 4 of 11 divided by 6 squared. I always write it out to what I'm thinking first. That way I know when I'm splitting everything apart. So let's split it apart. The division will split apart with what operation? How can I move the squared?
Gotta move it to the front, don't you?
You have to move it to the front. Now substitute in. 11 is 1.7 minus 2 times 1.3. And that's going to give us approximately a negative 9/10. And let's think about your way that you had and look at it here in a second. And these are approximate, so there could be a slight wiggle room because we are approximating. So log base 4 of 4 is understood to be what number?
1.
1. So log base 4 of 11 over, we said that 36 was 4 times 9. And so we have, separating this out, log base 4 of 11 minus log base 4 of 4 times 9. Log base 4 of 11 minus log base 4 of 4 minus, because it's in the denominator, everything in the denominator is going to have a minus sign in front of it, log base 4 of 9. And plugging everything in, we're going to approximate 1.7 minus 1 minus 1.6. And that gives us approximately negative 0.9. So that's where two ways of thinking about the same problem will get to the same, we'll still get to the same answer. And let me give you one more. Oops. Log base 4 of 32 divided by 3. Okay. And so, if we notice up at the top, 3 is not an option. How can we get this to where it can be something we can work with? What can I...
Subtract.
You can't subtract.
Multiply times 2.
Multiply times 2. Log base 4 of 64 over 6. Now, this is going to pull back in what David talked about earlier. Log base 4 of 4 is 1. As I introduced that rule yesterday, we'll be using that rule sometimes today. And so, 64 is 4 to what power? 4 to the third. So, log base 4 of 4 cubed over 6. And now I can work on splitting that apart. Log base 4 of 4 cubed minus log base 4 of 6. So how can I deal with that cubed? What will happen with it? And so we have log 3 times log base 4 of 4 minus log base 4 of 6. And some of you may not be showing that middle step. You may go ahead and move that coefficient, move that to a coefficient spot whenever you know there's an exponent. That is fine. And so 3 times 1. And what is log base 4 of 6?
1.3.
So approximately 3 minus 1.3. And that is approximately what number?
How'd you get 1?
Because you said that log base 4 of 4
Yeah,
is
4
1.
of 6 though.
Oh, that was supposed to be a 4. My handwriting is horrible. That's a 4. And that is 1.7.